Hi everybody, welcome back to Angie's Answers. Today I'm coming to show you something that a lot of people have requested. So as you know, we are the creator of the quick zip system, how we zip our quilts onto our frames without having to stand at that frame. Saves so much time when you're ready to load. But a lot of people have asked us, do I have to pin? So normally when we attach a quilt to zippers, we will use straight pins or safety pins to attach that fabric to the edge of the zipper. But a lot of you have asked for a basting method, if it's possible to baste your fabric to your zippers. So that's what I'm going to show you today. I have my backing fabric here. I do have it all squared up. So there is a video if you're not sure how to square up your backing fabrics. If you look down below, it's part 1. It's called Squaring Up Your Backing Fabrics. And you do want to make sure that you are eliminating any of that twisting. So you know when you buy fabrics off of the bolt, that fabric is going to twist, and you need to eliminate that twisting before we can load it on the frame. So this backing fabric is all squared up. My centers are already found, and then I've got my zipper here with the centers on my zipper as well. So I'm going to match those two together. Excuse me. I am using my Handi Quilter sewing machine. If you haven't heard, Handi Quilter also makes HQ stitch machines. So this is actually one of the older ones, the 710. It has been replaced by the 610, which is also an amazing sewing machine as well. I did increase my stitch length. I have my needle centered. I do have my smaller zipper foot that came with this machine. And then I've got my needle in the center position, and I have my stitch length as wide as it'll go at 5. That's what I put my machine at. I am using a So Fine thread in the top and in the bottom. One other tip, if you do want to make this a little faster, Superior Thread sells this product that's called Vanish. Vanish is a water-soluble thread. So you could run this in your top or in your bobbin, whichever you prefer, and put any other thread on the opposite. So if I'm running this through the top, then I would leave my So Fine thread here in my bobbin. This thread, because it's water soluble, once you're done with the project, you will just spritz on the zipper, and then this thread will dissolve so you don't have any of those basting stitches to pick out. So this is a wonderful product from Superior Thread. It is called Vanish. You can also find it on our website, which is quiltingconnection.com, and then search for the Vanish on there. This is the smaller spool. They do make bigger cones. If you're finding that you are doing this a lot, then you could get the bigger cone and this would last a long time. But this has 200 yards on it, so this is also going to last for a while too. So what I want to do is I want to take my center marks where I've got my safety pins here, and I'm just going to take a pen and I'm just going to draw on this edge here where my center is. So give myself a drawn center line right on this edge, and then draw on this edge too. So that way I can pop these pins out, but I still know exactly where my center is. So I'm going to take these pins out. This guy didn't quite get very straight. Let me try again. Okay. I am attaching my zippers to the selvage. So I do highly recommend, if you are going to do this basting method, make sure that you are attaching to the selvage. We have found, because I'm using my domestic sewing machine, my feed dogs here, it will stretch the fabric just a little bit. So this selvage is nice and strong. It's not going to stretch as easy. So I would highly recommend attaching, if you're doing this method, always try to make sure to attach it to your selvage edges and not the cut side of the fabric. If you do need to attach it to the cut side, you may need to drop your feed dogs a little bit. If there's too much stretch and too much pressure on that fabric, then when you go to zip it on your long arm, it's going to be kind of wavy. So I am going to take my one edge here, my backing fabric, my bottom edge here, and then I've got my zipper. I'm going to unzip my zipper. This zipper tells me to pin to the backing fabric bottom left side with that material wrong side up. So this is the first zipper I'm going to attach. So I'm going to find my center mark, and then I'm just going to match up the center mark on the fabric with that center mark on my zipper. Perfect. And tuck that underneath of here. I'm going to keep the zipper towards me. I do have to open up my fabric a little bit more. Hold on. I'm making a big mess. get that fabric all open, toss it up on my table so it's not pulling down on me too much. So this is the edge that I want to attach first. Find my centers again, center of the fabric, center of the zipper, and match those two up. Then I'm gonna tuck it under my machine. Make sure those stay matched. I'm gonna keep the zipper foot right next to my zipper teeth here. Then when I start, I'm also gonna do a little backtrack to make sure that that basting stitch is secured in the middle. So you do wanna baste from the center out. I'm just keeping the fabric lined up by the edge of the zipper here and helping guide that to my machine. So it is doing, like I said, a longer basting stitch, so this will go pretty quick, and I'm just helping it hold nice and straight, nice and even. That zipper foot is nice because it's narrower, so it's not gonna skip up on top of my teeth. I don't have to worry about it jumping up on top of here. So I'm gonna work my way all the way to this edge. I could speed up just a little bit. Keep everything straight and smooth. I did already try this on one set of backing fabrics, and I zipped it on the roller bar just to make sure that it didn't flare or stretch that edge, and it worked out great. So here is my slider pull for my zipper. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave my needle down, but I'm gonna raise up my foot so then I can slide that zipper pull past and bring it, you can't see it, bring it up this way so it's past my foot. Then I can put my foot back down and then I can continue to sew to that edge. I'm also gonna do a little bit of a backtrack here on that edge to make sure those are secured and then cut so I can pull this out. Then I can pull this slider pull back to the end. These are practice fabrics that we're going to use at the Madison Quilt Expo that's coming up. The Great Wisconsin Quilt Show in Madison, Wisconsin. So we're getting these all basted so that way anybody that comes to the show in Madison, you'll be able to stitch on the machines and practice on the machines. And I thought, man, I don't really want to pin all of that. Let's try and baste them. So here is my center. I need to work on this side. So this was a little bit awkward and you may have a better way to do this. So if you do, feel free to send a message in the comments, but I'm going to pull the zipper through this way and push that fabric back around this way. So my fabric is kind of bunched up in the middle of the machine head, but that worked out pretty good for me when I did the other one. So I'm gonna start back here in my center, stitch a little bit, do a backtrack to make sure that's locked in place. And now I'm just keeping the zipper lined up on this edge. Let me bring you in just a little closer so you can see that better. So I'm just keeping that lined up. I'll pull the fabric towards me again so I can kind of smooth this all out, and keeping my fabric lined up by my zipper and just guiding that right next to the foot there. And you can see it is making a longer basting stitch. So it is putting that longer basting stitch in there for me, which will be easier for me to rip it out. Hold that nice and straight and work my way down to this end. When I get to my end here, I'm gonna guide that in there, and then I am gonna do a back stitch again at this end just to make sure that that fabric stays secured. I'll cut off, and then I can pull this out of here. So this half is all done now, all secured on here. It does have, let me hold it this way, maybe a little bit of a wave to it, but like I said, when I zipped it on the frame, that was totally fine. If you find that your fabric is more stretchy than this and it is creating a bigger wave, you would want to take out that basting stitch, drop down your feed dogs, and then try it again. Again, if you can attach to the selvage, that's gonna help you because this is a nice, solid, tight piece of fabric. I was sewing some more and I wanted to come on to show you the difference from sewing to the selvage side versus sewing to the cut side of the fabric. So this first one that's laying here is sewn to the selvages, and this second one was sewn to the cut side. I didn't drop my feed dogs because I wanted to do that test for you guys. So as you can see, this one is a little bit more wavy compared to this one. Let's take them over to Longarm and see if that makes a difference. This is the one that I sewed to the cut side of the fabric, not the selvage side. So I'm gonna grab my bottom, throw the rest of it up and over, and then this zipper has to go below this one and attaches to here. Let me go around back and pull that nice and tight. And do you see what's happening to my canvases here? Can you see that? Yeah, they're pretty twisted. I can try to pull that out, but that did put that wave and that twist on my canvas. So I would not recommend sewing to the cut side of the fabric. You can definitely sew it on the selvage side. If you are gonna sew to the cut side, you will probably have to drop your feed dogs so it doesn't create so much stretch and then create this ripple effect. Let me see if I get that out of the way. There you go, now you can see it a little better. So it is twisting my canvases and pretty wavy in here. So thankfully, I sewed this one with that Vanish thread. So I'm gonna spritz this, that'll dissolve the thread so I don't have to sit there and pick out all those individual basting stitches. Let me grab the one that's sewn to the selvage so you can see the difference. So this is the one that was sewn to the selvage. Let me put my roller bar back down for just a second. Same thing, I'm gonna find my bottom edge zipper, toss everything else up and over, and this one goes underneath and attaches to this belly bar. This is only a 90-inch, so that's why it doesn't go all the way down my roller bar like that. Let's pull this nice and tight. And then let me lift this out of the way. And as you can see, this is much smoother, much flatter. I don't have that same wave. I don't have any twisting going on in my canvases. So again, highly recommend, if you're gonna do this basting method, baste it to the selvage edges and not the cut side of your fabric. So I really hope that helps. I wanted to come and show you how to get that Vanish thread to come off of your fabric in your zipper. So here Sue is just spritzing it with water, plain water, spritzing it, letting it sit for just a second, and then it pulls right off like that. So again, if you are able to attach the zippers to the selvage edge, that should work. If you do need to attach it to the cut side, then try to drop your feed dog so it doesn't create that waviness. And then to get that zipper to pull right off, you're just gonna use water, spritz it along that edge, and that Vanish will dissolve, so you're just left with that one thread that was in my bobbin. This product is amazing.